Are you tired of hitting roadblocks in your dating life? Join me for a free masterclass where I'll be revealing the 3 nice guy dating patterns that turn women off and what you should be doing instead. Unlock the secrets to creating genuine attraction. Click the link in the description to sign up now. I have a question in the chat from somebody that says, what's your time frame when hooking up with them initially? 1 month, 3 months, 6 months? Some are more affectionate than others. Well, this goes back to, it's not so much about the time frame as it is that you are the one that's in control of when it happens. And I say it because most guys are honestly trying to rush it very, very fast, all right? But that doesn't show that you're a controlled guy that's really assessing her and your guys' dating situation and if there's chemistry involved. And women want to see that you are taking the same kind of time and you're putting forth the same effort and energy to really look at if you guys have that dynamic as she is. Because most women are going to do their due diligence. Most women, even if they hook up with you on a first date or a third date, they're really looking at but how is this guy pacing out this dating process, all right? And so the mistake most guys make is, let's say you get that first date hookup, right? Well, most guys will be like, I got the first date hookup, now we're boyfriend or girlfriend. No, you need to be treating all these girls in the first 3 months the same way you would whether you hooked up with them on date 1 or on month 3. And that is that everything you're doing with this girl is just part of the research process. You hook up with her on the 3rd date, you are not boyfriend or girlfriend. That is just, you guys did an activity that gives you more research into the dating process of her, and that felt great. You now know what hooking up with her feels like, and you know what things she likes in bed. Fantastic. You add that to the list of things you now know about her, but this does not mean you were in a relationship. And that's the real problem, is that it's not about when you hook up with her, it's about what energy are you bringing to the dating situation after you've hooked up with her. If you're a guy that can hook up with a girl on date 1 and still treat this whole process as if it's just all part of finding out who she is, then go for that. If you're a guy that knows that once you hook up with her, you're going to feel like you're in a relationship, then fine. Wait till month 2 or 3, all right? So that part doesn't matter so much, but I will say, I found that typically if you wait a few dates, like say 2 or 3 dates for the hookup, it gives her enough time to have spent time with you to not second guess and have buyer's remorse about that decision, but it's still early in the process to where it's not super serious. It's just, you now know this is going to be part of dating her and your guys' dating process. So hopefully, guy, that helps you out. Another question here. Question says, what happens if she initiates texting, but then continues the conversation nonstop? Sometimes I try to end the conversation so we can have some time to miss each other. Is that a good sign, or should I continue to try to end the conversation? Well, here's the real reality, guys. And this is, I know I teach you guys a lot about how if you're over texting, it can be annoying to women, but also if a woman's over texting, it can become annoying to you as well. Just like there are men that are bad at texting and that want to text nonstop, there are women out there that are going to try to do that. That does not mean that you have to be engaged in that activity. So if you want to stop a conversation, you can just say, she'll respond back with something for like the 15th time, and you're like, oh, that's so great, or blah, 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 blah. And you'd be like, hey, I'm about to do some errands, but I'll catch up with you later. Boom. Leave it at that. Because honestly, people who text a whole lot, they're doing that because there's something in them that says that they don't really quite feel good enough or believe that this other person is going to want to be with them unless they're constantly in front of their face, all right? But that's not a you issue. That's a her issue. That does not mean, again, that you have to do that in order to make her feel good about herself. Now, if you happen to try to cut off a text and say, hey, I'll chat with you later, and she keeps trying to text you, you ain't got to answer it. If at that point she starts getting belligerent and being like, well, why aren't you texting me back? It doesn't take that long. Are you cheap? But then you now know you have a texting cycle on your hands, and you know that you're a person that doesn't have good enough self-esteem about themselves to think that they can go away from texting you and still be in your good graces. And these are the kind of things that, again, you want to suss these things out early when you don't have a lot of feelings for a person, because if she's texting you extensively early on and she won't stop doing it and it's bugging you and you realize it's not going to stop, you can get out. Like, you don't have to keep seeing her. You can leave her and see somebody else, but it's going to be easier to do that if you notice that early on versus you're 6 months in and all of a sudden you want to be like, hey, babe, so you text me a lot and I don't like it. Well, unfortunately, she's now had 6 months of you agreeing to that behavior. And even though it sucks, that's not fair to her that you waited that long to say something about it. So all that to say, you don't have to continue the conversation. You can do a wrap up. Hey, babe, great to hear from you. I'll text you later on about a date I want to take you on later this week. Boom, be done, be out. If she decides to text after that, that's on her. You are not obligated to continue the text stream, much in the same way I teach you guys, hey, if you're texting a girl nonstop and she doesn't answer back, she has a right to stop for the day. Like, the bad thing about texting is it makes a conversation feel as though it could go on 24 hours. And the reality is it should not. So treat texting like you're in an actual conversation and like a party. At some point, you're going to leave the party and not talk to these people again. That is totally fine to do in real life and in your texting life. So hopefully that helps you out. So this guy left a thing in the chat, and I guess it's a reference into like the whole hookup thing, where I talk about how if you make a woman wait for hooking up, you'll find that they're going to be the ones coming to you, wanting that hookup or doing things that facilitate a hookup. And this guy said, holding out, waiting drives them crazy. Yeah, it does. And most women don't have that happen. Most women, they know they can go out any given time and just be like, I want to hook up. And they can go on a dating app tonight and be like, hey, guy, let's go hook up. Every guy they hit up is going to say, yes, let's do it, right? So if you're the one guy that she really, really wants and you're like, let's just wait. Yeah, it's going to build up even more anticipation. It's going to have her questioning herself about, is she good enough? Do you find her attractive? All these other things that in your head, you're like, of course I find you attractive. But the fact that she has that thought, it's going to make her now have to prove to herself that she isn't attractive by hooking up with you. Is it fair? Who cares? The point is that it works. So let's see any other questions. Question in the chat goes, how should introverts think about the fear of rejection when approaching women you find attractive? Well, you know what's funny is in my book here, I actually have a whole chapter where I talk extensively about that kind of thing. So definitely tune in when you get the book next week. But I will say this, is that I believe that men think and feel that the women we find attractive feel the same way about themselves all the time. And I found that to not be true. And this is why it's important to know about a woman's mental life, because we put women on such a high pedestal. We think they're so great. They're so wonderful. They smell so great. They look so good. They must also think the same thing about themselves. And that's why they probably wouldn't like me, right? And in the meantime, in that girl's head, you don't know the thought life women have. I've dated some of the hottest women that in being in quiet moments with them are like, well, you know, I don't think my boobs are big enough, or they're too big, or, you know, I like this mole on my face here, or I have smelly farts, or blah, 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 this and that. And they have all these things that they know are imperfect about themselves that we're not even seeing or thinking about, right? But if you know and are aware that women have these thoughts going on in their head, it'll make it easier for you to approach them, because you won't think that they're such the hot stuff, because you'll be thinking, even though I think they're the hot stuff, they probably don't think they're the hot stuff, which means they're looking at themselves as being on an even playing field with you. And you know what? You are, because the reality is you're going to find as you date more and more women, when you get them home on a day-to-day basis, they don't look that great. They don't smell that great. They do annoying things. They make mistakes. They, you know, have their hair all unkempt and out of place, or they're leaving messes around in your place. And they're going to start to do things that are going to bring them down to earth. If you just have the idea of the woman in front of you as already being that person, it makes it very easy to go in with the thought of like, let me go and research what this person's about before I have all these feelings for them, versus thinking, oh my God, they're already so great. I just know they're the best person ever. And you'll be less nervous. At least that's what worked for me, you know?
You's a bad boy, but you can't stop, won't stop. You a high earning, high value, high class man. You a high earning, high value, high class man. You a high earning, high value, high class man. You a high class man. You a high class man. You a high earning, high value, high class man.